Barker. I'm here with the brother Eric Robinson, and this is Mind Your Own Process. Get it? Like Mind Your Own Purpose, Mind Your Own Process podcast. I met this brother out of by fate, like completely by fate. It's crazy. Like I had got pulled over on the highway. Just a short story. I got pulled over on the highway because I had tints on my car. Long story short, I ended up going to like a gas station mechanic, and the guy there, he was like, "Yo, bro, I know we can take your tints off. Go to Eric." I'm like, he's like, who? I'm like, go to Eric up by Mondawmin. He'll take it off. He brother real good. I'm like, all right, bet, bro, whatever. I go up there. I missed this brother the first time. He was busy. He had to pick up your kid.
Right.
So the second time I come back around, we end up chopping it up. We talking. And just by fate, he from Cherry Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Cherry Hill as well, Baltimore, Cherry Hill.
Right.
So everything just like, turn to fate, everything worked out. We end up like just linking up, and here we are. So, and I just wanted to like also touch on the fact that this brother's an entrepreneur on his own tinting business, 8 months in and just grinding. And I mean like just really killing it. And that blew my mind. That was a story within itself. Like, okay, if this brother can do it, I can do it. That inspiration within itself. So just want to like chop up and kind of hear his whole story. So how you doing, brother?
I'm good, sir.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So like, can you tell like how did you get started? I know me and you talked about it.
So pretty much I got started. Would you like me to direct?
By all means.
So pretty much I got started in the summertime of 2020. This was after the quarantine had initially been put in place. And not too much was going on. I just didn't feel like going to work. Not because I didn't want to work, but just because it was pretty dangerous, you know what I'm saying? I won't say dangerous, I would just say it was uncertain.
Right.
What could happen just from being around too many people.
Right.
I was at the post office, touching the mail and dealing with all of those
things. So had
things.
y'all doing that?
Yeah, everything was the same, you know what I mean, pretty much. And I just kind of wanted to focus on trying to do something where I could still generate income, and take care of all my responsibilities,
right,
and some if it was allowed.
Understandable.
But I don't know. I just was sitting with one of my cousins, and it's crazy because today is his birthday, and I just was talking to him today. And we were sitting in the car, and he was just telling me like, man, because at the time I was thinking about restarting a detailing business, right?
Okay.
But I was just sitting there telling him like, bro, I found this dope workshop,
right,
like one of these leading detailing franchises in America or whatever, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, and they show you how to do it. They break the business down and everything and blah, 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 right?
Right.
So he like, right. And he like, man, he was like, yo, you should just look into all kind of stuff there, man. He was like, do window tinting too. And I was like, I don't know nothing about tinting no windows. I was like, I never thought about it. And then I'm on YouTube just looking at stuff, and it's just so much information. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I get into that, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just look at some videos and try to figure it out. And that's what I did. I just spent probably like about a good 5 days looking at videos before I decided to actually go forth and purchase window film for myself and all the tools.
Then you wanted to like, prior to like actually get into the whole window tint, this was the 5-day work you was putting in, was just seeing whether or not you wanted to add it to your detail.
Right. And just kind of just figure out what's the business, you know what I mean? What kind of money can you make? How much are the expenses and the overhead? I don't ever just jump into something without my due diligence, doing my due diligence. So that's what I did. And actually, it's kind of funny because what I do every day, I write down my goals, right? So, and when I say my goals, I'm not talking necessarily long-term goals, just anything that I put my mind to.
So it's like, I want to make sure, like, you just like that daily goals, like weekly goals?
Yeah, any type of goal, long-term, weekly, and daily.
So he explained how you
Sure. So what I do is I take flashcards, right? Or index cards, not flashcards, index cards. I'm not sure the size, but the joints like that big or whatever. I'll sit down and I'll just say, I'll start with the daily things or things more long term, or not necessarily any length necessarily. Just like my first one every day is always define what I want my life to be. Define my life. You know what I mean? So not necessarily I want to be this or I want to do this, but just what kind of life do I want to live?
Right.
Do I want to be happy? Do I want to be successful? Do I want to be a great father? Just so I can keep track of where I am with all those things. Just a general overview, not specifically, not the minutia of it.
I got it. So you start from the overview and then
right,
go
and then I break it down. I say build my concentration, manifest.
Got it.
Things like that, and then produce more, consume less.
I like that.
Just those are my type of goals.
You put that down. Okay, what type of man I want to be, and then you put like produce more.
Yeah, consume less. Yeah, protect my energy.
That's deep.
Things like that. Like these are my goals.
So you don't put an actual
like a goal.
Yeah,
no.
But how you said is like the attributes,
right?
Like what you acquire,
right?
You're not talking about I want to be the wealthiest man in the world. And then I'm paying. Okay.
No. And the reason that I do it like that is because I feel like once you have these things in place, it catapults you to all of those things. It's like those goals will become byproducts of the character that you possess.
So what I'm getting is like not even a skill set, because produce, consume less is like a habit.
Right. Habits.
Like you substituting habits for, you would call it, I guess, better habits.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's easy to say like, oh, I want $100,000 at the end of the month or something like that.
Right.
But that's monetary gains. You could get that.
Oh yeah, true.
You could be piss poor with everything. You could get $100,000.
Yeah, right? That's
yeah, like real rap. But it takes a lot of dedication and commitment to unlearn and relearn. You know what I mean? Like the book, right? That's why I said that shit.
Yeah, that Derek Grace book. Yeah.
Like you're not really gonna get that far. You could luck up, you know what I mean, and stumble into something that you wanted, but you won't keep it. You know what I mean? If you're not made to keep it, if you don't build yourself that way.
I got it. So like what? First of all, like how did you even get to that mindset? Was always something you always had?
I have no idea. All I know is that my father always told me the power of a blank piece of paper. That's how he would.
I've heard it before.
Yeah, and I never questioned that because I was a kid.
Yeah.
So he would tell me things, and I really wouldn't know what he meant. I wouldn't question it. I wouldn't like wave it off. I would just listen.
So what did he? I got one part of it. I want to say your part. Like what did he mean when he said the power of a blank piece of paper?
So basically, if you can write it down, you can do it.
Sheesh.
You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, think about like an airplane, right? Not nowadays when we see airplanes in the sky all the time.
Right.
I'm talking about when the Wright brothers, if they are the original
inventors
of the airplane, if they sat there and they thought, let's build this prototype, let's try to fly, you know what I mean? Let's try to get a machine in the air or whatnot, right? If they did not have the ability to think about that and put that on something, even if they didn't write it down or draw it out at first, just to be able to think of something means you can do it. You would not be able to think of things you don't know.
Got it. You got a point.
How could you invent, like, all right, think about it. I don't even know what I'm about to say, but how could I invent that without being able to think about it first?
You gotta manifest it mentally.
Exactly. Before it becomes physical.
Your life experience, did it culminate from that? Like, okay.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I hit my head a billion times. You know what I mean? It's times that I didn't listen. I still have my moments where I don't do things that I know I should be doing or need to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm human. I'm flawed.
I respect that.
So, I grew with these things, but it didn't come until I understood why I needed to do these things. You know what I mean? It's a different story from knowing the benefit of doing something, but when you understand, when you understand, like, this is why I need to do this, it just makes so much sense. And that goes into like how we were talking about the tinting business, just how I picked it up so fast and I generated business like I do is because I don't spend a lot of time, second guessing or questioning myself.
You just go for it.
Right, because I developed such a process, like I work out of muscle memory, right? I'm not saying that I'm super fast. I don't try to get through a job as fast as I can. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to knock a whole car down in 45 minutes or a half hour. Yeah. I mean, if I get to that point naturally, that's fine. But right now, I enjoy taking my time just to ensure that everything is correct.
Got it. So with the, and I didn't interrupt.
Yeah, no.
But like I know you talked about how you got into the tinting business. Like your cousin kind of like hinted at it. And then, so when did you realize like I'm gonna stick with this over detail?
Okay, so the thing about detailing is, and once again, I'm not saying that the people that make money detailing or are very successful at detailing, I'm not taking a shot at them or anything like that, but the nature of the business is time consuming. Unless you're washing cars, but that's not detailing. Right. That's washing cars. You know what I mean?
I remember you not explain how you remember me was talking about it. Right. You was like, explain what detail.
So detailing is when you go through just about every detail or facet of that vehicle and it's spotless. You know? Yeah. So you wax, you know what I mean? You wash, you hit all the little minor imperfections that you could get in the nooks and crannies and everything. Think about like when you go to a car show and they raise the hood and the engine looks spotless like they never even drove the car.
I'm used to.
That's a detail.
I'm used to like, and that's why I actually when we was talking that day, I'm used to like, okay, people. I've seen one guy do a whole detail. It blew my mind. But other than that, I'm used to like you wiping things down, the engines make out little black, not the engine, the tires make out little black spots like crevice, but everything else still shiny. Right. And you spraying oil sheen on the engine to make it look good. Right. So I'm like, that's detailed. And like I said, I only saw one guy, and I do it completely, but I heard you break it down. That blew my mind.
Yeah, and see, it can get time consuming. It's not really, I'm not going to say you can't make money, but it's not too much that you're going to be able to book like on a day-to-day basis.
So
it's limited. You know what I mean? Like if you have a squad, if you scale the business up, that's one thing. But for you to do it yourself, you're going to hit a point where you reach the ceiling. Like it's a cap.
So what would be the next step for a person to even? I remember you was talking about you can teach somebody else how to do it.
Yeah. So but see that's scaling. So if you teach somebody else how to do it, and you bring them into the fold and make them a part of your operation, then you're making more money than what you would make by yourself. But it's just so much to it. Like you are dependent on the products that you use. Okay. You can't detail a car just from just using a rag and some water.
And knowing that from your experience, your thought process is like once you realize, okay, like this is too time consuming.
It's not really cost effective. So like I would be getting in and buying products, and you want to use good products. You can use cheap stuff if you want to, you know what I mean? But that's a question for you to answer, you know what I mean? Like what kind of business do I want? Do I want to be this guy charging a certain price and using cheaper products, or do I want to use the best products and charge a premium because of that? You know what I mean? It's tough.
You pay for it.
Exactly. But you just gotta find the right demographic of clientele. You gotta build your client base up and gear it towards that. It's like barbers. You know what I mean? Like you got one guy that cuts hair, he might charge $25. Right. You got another guy that might charge $1.50. Yeah. And it's the same haircut. Like not saying they don't do anything differently, but ultimately it's a haircut. Right. And your hair's gonna grow back in a week or 2 weeks. When you look at it like that, you kind of gotta ask yourself, what's the point of paying that? Like, what's your justification for that amount of money? Right. It's a guy that I know he could get you in and out the chair in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, right? And he's booking appointments, you know what I mean? So if your appointment is at 1, you done at 120, 125. But he charges 50, he might charge 75 or something like that.
His cuts like good.
His cuts is good. His cuts is decent. Like when I say decent, I'm not saying mediocre. I'm saying
like he really legit.
Yeah, it's legit.
Okay.
And that's his his thing, you know what I mean? But you got a guy that might do a cut for $20 or something like that. He still might be fast, but he not doing appointments.
God.
You know what I'm saying? So you might be sitting in the barber shop for 2 hours, 3 hours waiting to get the haircut.
So this ties into the detail and the tint.
Right. It's all about, you know, the type of business, how you run your business, how you operate. You know what I mean? So depending on your level of operation, you may can charge more or less, depending upon some of them things. But the tinting, I realized that it's a very low entry cost to get into it. The only thing you really need to do to get good at tinting is be patient and put in the work. Because it's definitely not a lot of money out of your pocket. You do have the upside of making a lot of money because it's a very high demand field. It's not something that, you know, not too many people want. A lot of people want their car tinted. Like, especially when you drive and you fish bowling. And all it takes is one person to stare at you at a red light or something. You're like, oh my God, what is going on? But they still looking. Just imagine driving fish bowling and you stopping and you looking at people's houses. Right. And you don't know if somebody's in that house or not, or if they own the house or whatever, or it's really vacant. So you sitting there, you looking, you might have a pen and paper, or you might be talking on the phone, like into the voice recorder or something, like 5220 Rebirth Avenue, something. You know what I mean? You never know. But imagine having 10 on your car, and you sitting there and you looking, nobody would be like, what are you doing? Like, they gonna ask that naturally, just because your car's unfamiliar. But they not going like stare at you like, yo, he right, so what's going? You know what I mean? You're not looking real awkward in the car. Like, like who the hell is that? Right, you kind of inconspicuous. So, I like that. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's that feeling. It's like, what is it called? Like a comfort mechanism. So you 8 months in, already, and this to the I remember when you was talking, you was like, you realize like detail wasn't working based off what you just said. Yeah. But me personally, you know what I mean? Like I said, I like taking my time. You know what I mean? As far as detailing, that's something you can fly through if you want to, but I can't do that. Me personally, I would never be done detailing the car. That's your character. Right. As a man. Right. That's and that's something that I know about myself. That's something, it works for certain things. Right. So for detailing, it's a no for me. You know what I mean? For me personally. No, I respect that. I respect that. So with that, like once you figured out tinting was the thing, and like your mindset was focused on that, like what was your next step? Like, okay, like it's making money. So no, not necessarily making money. My next step was just becoming proficient at what I do. Right. You know what I mean? Not mastering my craft, but becoming proficient at my craft. If I want to charge people for my service, I need my service to be on par. You know what I mean? I need it to be worthy of receiving. So you're not just shooting the blanks looking for. Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. And like, you know, I can't really say I condone that, but I know some people that might, you know, they pay their money for their tint, the tint that they brought, and the materials and the supplies that they use, and they might feel like, well, I'm tinting, so it's gonna be blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like the person who actually tint or the person who on the code? No, the person that actually tint. Like they might don't know what they're doing. They just figure like, well, I paid money, I brought this. I'm about to start charging. No research whatsoever. None. Hey, if you're not a professional, you're an amateur, right? So that's the only two distinctions with that. I agree with that. There's nothing in between. There's nothing. Well, I mean, I can't. I mean, being honest, like it's like one or one. You know, it's one or two. Like you either which way you going. Right. So if you're professional, that means that you're getting paid for something. But the reason you're getting paid for it is because you have the knowledge and the expertise in that field, right? So you're worthy of being paid. So you're a professional. If you don't meet that criteria, you're an amateur. And you don't necessarily, not saying you can't get paid, but you can't do it full time because you don't have the full skill set. Got it. So master that. So at least become proficient in the field. So you could do what you do. That's real. And the way I look at that is like, what I did was I worked on my own car. right? I tinted my own windows, and I already had my car tinted, but my windshield wasn't tinted. So I practiced on my windshield. I think it took me, I did like 5 or 6 screw-ups the first day, the first day alone. I was like, oh man, from putting the tint in backwards, like okay, so the way tint is, you have the tint,
Okay.
you got a layer of adhesive, and then you got the clear release liner, right? The release liner is just a clear piece of paper, you peel it back, that's where the glue is exposed.
Okay.
And then you stick that side onto the glass so that it runs to the glass over time.
And then what, like the other side, you just like...
The other side is just the tint, that's the side facing you when you're in the car. So it's nothing on it, it's just the tint.
Got it.
So the thing is, I put it in backwards. So I put the tint side on the glass and the glue side facing me.
Awesome.
I don't know. It was the method that I was working on.
Yeah.
That it's called reverse rolling, where you roll the tint up on the window and then you unroll it inside of the window.
It gotta be doing good because I've seen your tints.
Yeah. No, that's
that was before.
yeah. When I first started, I messed that up. It's easy,
Right.
you know, to get disoriented if you don't know which way it goes in or how to unroll it or whatever.
But you took the time to learn.
Yeah, I had to learn. I had to. I didn't have a choice. Like, I spent my money on this tint. I spent my money on my tools. You know what I'm saying? I spent my time looking at all of this stuff, and I was ignoring a lot of other things like detailing or going back to work or.
So that's the part definitely touch on too, and you just kind of grabbed that. You ignored everything else.
Yeah.
And you focused primarily on that. What was the consequence? I know a lot of times, like people, just in general, people like, nah, I can't do this. I gotta figure out one.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, you gonna mess up both.
Right. So what I'll say, what I've learned in the past, when you put your focus on something, if it's the right thing, it'll pay off for you. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to put your focus on the wrong thing. I could be, I'm in a relationship, right? So if me and my young lady on the phone all day, every day, or we seeing each other, or we laid up all the time, there's only a couple things that can come from that, you know what I mean? And if you're not set up right, if your lifestyle is not right, that's going to be some bad things, you know what I mean? It's beautiful things, but it can be bad if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah,
You know
exactly what you're saying.
So, if you focus all your time and attention and energy on that situation, then you're going to get the results that you may or may not be looking for.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. So if you tell, like, if you're in a relationship, you tell your person, look, I'm about to start doing this. This is where my time and my focus is going. If they with you, and I mean, even if they, sometimes they might not understand that. You know, that's not easy, especially if they're not from that, you know, background of, okay, we go and get something done, or we setting goals, this is what we're working towards. Then it's a little hard to understand.
That's tough.
Right, it is. So you gotta know who you with and who with you.
That's a tough one.
But that's another story.
Totally
That's another story. But you know, so what I did was I just focused my attention on this and I put the time in. Not because I was in a rush to try to make money with it, not even because I was in a rush to try to get proficient with it. I'm just determined, you know what I mean? So if I set my mind to something, I'm gonna make sure it gets done. You know, like I feel like that's a part of, like I told you earlier, one of my goals is building my concentration or building focus, right? Because I think that's important. Like a lot of people don't have focus. The attention span is shorter than generations prior.
100%.
Right. So it's easy for people to, you know, this is why songs are shorter nowadays.
Yeah.
And there's so much music out there because people can't listen to a whole album. Imagine listening to an album from the 70s, a full LP, right? Vinyl, and just sitting there from the start, as soon as you drop the needle until it's hitting up against the.
Yeah, those songs are way longer.
Right. So, you know, that's almost,
yeah,
your afternoon is gone. Just listening to one album from one band or artist or whatever. So nowadays, it's like the whole album is over in like 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
And that's a tough one because that reflects on like people.
Right. And that's, I think is conditioning. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure who's responsible for what. I don't know because I don't know where to direct that to.
I agree.
But it's definitely everything is programmed that. Because if you think about it, like, all right, think about when we were probably kids or something, right? A lot of us coming from where we came from, either you wanted to play basketball, football, you wanted to rap, and that's
the 3 avenues.
That's new. That's relatively new because I'm 33.
Right.
When I was like 5 or 6, nobody really wanted to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Nobody said, "Oh, I'm gonna do this." Rappers really weren't making money like that. You know what I mean?
Being completely honest.
Exactly. So that's a relatively new thought process or avenue, like you said, for kids or anybody. So the reason I'm saying this is because back then it wasn't a lot,
right,
to divert your attention or to focus on this or this. But nowadays, because of the internet and everybody having a say so it's more to focus on. You can say, "Oh man, I don't want to do that. I want to be a masseur. I want to do massages." You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I want to I want to own a food truck, or you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of stuff that people are.
No, that's real. That's completely real. Like, even from my experience, right? You know, I'm in law school. So I take the bar in July. So
congratulations.
Appreciate that, brother.
That's big, man. That's big, man.
So
see, you don't hear that too much.
You don't. But I remember, you know, just going back to how we grew up in our community. The only thing we saw was, you know, drug dealers.
Right.
Besides that, nothing else.
I agree.
Just being honest,
I agree.
So just to hear us doing that, and when your mindset, I was like that blew my mind when we were talking, just touching back on it.
Right.
Like, bro, you was just so focused. Like 8 months. Damn. And I keep hearing 8 months.
Yeah.
You say I'm focused on something. I keep hearing 8 months. Yeah, it took me 8 months. Yeah, I'm like, damn, 8 months.
And then, you know, all right, so I look at it like this. Like, I'm 8 months in, right? And every day, every car that I do, I still consider it practice.
Right.
It's just that I get paid for it because it's satisfactory, you know what I mean? Like, when I say satisfactory, I'm talking about 2 levels. Unsatisfactory and satisfactory, right? Not like the degree of satisfactory, but just either it make the cut or it don't.
Right.
But the reason it make the cut is because, you know, is slight imperfections, if any, you know what I mean? And I offer warranty. And I'm able to do that because of how I run my business.
It's a real professional.
Right. So if you're not offering a warranty, it's because you feel like, oh man, everybody coming back. You know what I'm saying? Look, you gotta redo my whole car, man. You sliced my window. I got bubbles in it.
You're putting back to the mindset, right? Because one thing I'm getting out of it, which makes so much sense, everything about you is straight professional.
Yeah.
Like, and even how you said, like, you know, if you don't got a warranty, you already thinking about somebody coming back.
Right. Because think about why you wouldn't want to offer a warranty, right?
Yeah.
It's because you don't want somebody to come back. Because
Exactly.
now I got to spend time on this. I'm not going to get paid for it. I got to use more film or materials or whatever. When you offer a warranty, it's because you want your customer to be rest assured that, you know,
They feel safe.
I'm good. I'm covered. You know what I mean? So it looks nice. Everything is good. But if something does go wrong, I know I can bring it back to them.
That's the dope one.
And then I always let them know I prioritize you on my schedule. Just let me know. We'll figure something out. Boom. And get you in there and get you out. I had one guy. And see, like, a lot of people might shy away from that because they might want to seem like they're perfect or they do the perfect job or whatnot. But I actually like talking about that. Like, oh man, I had somebody come back for a back window. The back window looked a mess. Now, the reason it looked a mess is not because I did a bad job or I messed it up, but it was glue. Like he had the tint removed from his car before. Once again, it's not something I did. I think he did Lyft or Uber.
Yeah.
So he had to get it taken off
Oh,
for that inspection. And he just went without it. But it was glue in the back, at the bottom of the back window.
Like touching the actual trunk.
Right. So I couldn't see it, you know what I mean? And I always clean the glass thoroughly before I tint the vehicle.
Right.
But I don't know how that went by me. And after I put it on there, it still didn't show up. But weeks later, it dried. It fully cured, right? And once it did, you could see all of the glue at the bottom. It just looked terrible. to my standards.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't any bubbles or any light gaps or big chunks of the tint missing or anything, but that glue was right there. So he told me like, hey man, there's some bubbles or something. I don't know what's going on. I was like, all right, well just bring it back and we'll take a look at it. So he comes through and I'm like, oh yeah, I was like, but that's not bubbles though, that's glue residue, sir. Like it was tint on the window before.
Right.
And he said, oh yeah. He was like, well, and I think he realized at that moment, like, well, I did have the tint taken off, so
yeah.
like it wasn't my fault, but it was my fault. I will accept that only because I should have been more thorough in my inspection of it prior to me putting the tint on. Because that's what I do. Like I personally try to.
You take the time to
kind of look for those things, because that's still even if it was tint on there and it's glue residue, still my responsibility to clean that out with me applying new tint to it, because I want it to look the best it can.
That makes sense.
If I would have seen it, then I would have taken that piece of tint off, cleaned it out, and redid that back window before I gave it to him.
Okay.
So and see, this is what I'm saying. If say I would have thought I was being slick or something, and would have been like, oh, I'm gonna send it out like that, it's all right, he ain't gonna come back. Knowing he gonna come back after he realized like, oh, it's stuff in there, so why not get it right then? You know what I mean? Now, mistake is one thing. If you didn't see it or you didn't realize it, that's one thing. But that speaks to integrity. You know what I'm saying?
That shows a lot.
Exactly. If you know something's wrong, fix it. Don't. You know what I mean? I done had incidents where something happened with a client's car, like as a matter of fact, it's crazy. My business card, right? It's a Mercedes-Benz GT43, 2021, brand new car, right? Love that car. That's my absolute favorite car that I've done. The tint came out flawless. The clients were happy. I was happy. I love them. You know what I mean? They're good people. And when I was tinting the rear window, it's a hatch style trunk. It's not a trunk like on a sedan where you pop it and it comes up. The whole rear comes up. Think like a Honda Crosstour or like
so it pop up like
like it goes up like a SUV or a van or something. Not like all the way up like that, but it just releases the whole rear section just about.
Wow.
So in order to tint that, I had to like slide it was awkward, but I got it done. But the thing is, I fell off my stool, right, as I was doing that, and when I landed, I was aiming to land on the body of the car, right, like my hand. Because, I mean, the stool like this high, it's not high, so I wasn't falling like out the sky.
But you just still fall.
But yeah, so I had to break my fall, and naturally, that's an instinct. Yeah. You know, it's a human. You're not going just...
Yeah, first,
right. So I put my hand on what I thought was the body of the car, but I actually put my hand on the, like the red deck in the back, but it's suspended by strings. It's not firm. It's not like
so it's nothing really holding it up.
It's just a string, and then the back section, like it's touching the back seat.
Okay.
But then the front part is held in by the string.
I gotta see this, 'cause now
it sound more than what it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
The imagery is like, okay, what is next?
Right. But when my hand went down, the pressure and the weight from my fall, my hand touched it and it popped the string on the one side in the back, right?
Wow.
So initially I was like, oh man, that sucks. Like that's terrible.
Yeah.
So the thing is, do you tell a client or not? Or do you try to cover it up or do something like that?
You gotta tell them.
I just told them. I'm not covering anything up. I'm gonna leave it like it is. I'm gonna finish the job, and when they come to pick it up, we're gonna have a conversation. Either you want me to get this fixed, either you want the job to be free, or whatever the resolution is, we're gonna come up with something. You know what I mean? Because it's not, oh yeah, well thanks for the money and there go your car. They ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that type of thing. So had a conversation, and they told me like, all right, well look, we gonna take it to the dealership, find out what's going on, and we'll let you know. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's fair. Like,
I respect that.
Right. They still paid me. They said, no, here go the bread or whatever. But when we find out, we'll let you know, we'll chop it up. You know, long story short, they took care of it. They told me don't even worry about it. Because they were so grateful that I even brought it to their attention. Like, this is a brand new car.
Damn. damn.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there like, man, that sucks so much.
You probably think like that costs a lot.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like $350, $500 for a string. You know what I'm saying? But they said it wasn't really even nothing for real. Like it was covered. Yeah, and they didn't pay anything for it. You know what I'm saying? Like the dealership took care of it. But my thing is like, had I been trying to cover it up or shiesty some type of way, or not honest and transparent. Let me say that right. You know, and like I know these people, you know what I mean? To a degree, you feel me? Good people, like I said. But I could tell they were appreciative of that, and they just, you know, honesty takes you a long way, man. And I actually feel good about those type of things, even though I should. Like that's something you should feel good about. But I get happy when things like that happen. It sounds crazy because you're thinking you don't want any complications or any problems, but because it gives you an opportunity to rise to that occasion, right? So when you do, people get to see your character in that situation. And as long as you remain consistent, nobody can ever say, oh, well, he doesn't do that, or I know that happened like that and he messed it up and da-da-da-da-da. Because if you say, well, I didn't do that, I didn't have anything to do with that, they have no reason to not believe you, because every time something did happen with you, look, I did this, or look, this is what happened with me.
It's kind of like you building up like integrity points. Not intentionally, but it's like that's your character.
Right, and it's consistent. Very consistent. People depend on consistency. You know, so it's like reviews. What happened when you go to a site or anything and you see a review, a 5-star review, or you see a 1-star review?
It shows.
And it's consistent. You see a lot of 5-star reviews for that business or that person or whatever, right? Then you're like, okay, well, hopefully I have a 5-star experience. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's perfect. You're going to get a mixture of things, because everything is different situations all the time. You know what I'm saying? No business is perfect. But you want to generally see a lot of good, positive reviews consistently. You know what I mean?
So that type of consistency, like it shows your character. It shows like just your thought pattern, because like you said, you had a lot going on in your mind.
Yeah.
Like was it? And that's crazy. So from there, did you feel like, okay, I'm doing my job? Like I'm doing my job.
Absolutely. And you know, it's some things that you need to have in place. You know, like I have business insurance just in case stuff does happen. Yeah, I can't come out of pocket for certain things just because some things might be expensive. Never know what could happen. Something could fall on the car where it had nothing to do with me, but because it's at my establishment, I'm responsible for that. I'm liable. So you need to have business insurance just to take care of things that you may monetarily cannot handle.
So your whole like one thing I can say, your whole structure is straight business oriented, real business, not janky.
Right. This is not a side hustle
at all.
You know what I mean? I have hustle. You know what I'm saying? As far as
I get what you're saying.
Ambition. Yeah, man. I'm like, no, man. I'm from Cherry Hill, man. Just like no way that we, start telling the stories about how Cherry Hill is on the move.
Right.
Which it is. Like years ago, you really very rarely would you see anybody from Cherry Hill outside of Cherry Hill.
At all.
Not that it didn't happen, because if you're outside of Cherry Hill, then the next person could be. And I mean,
no, you're right.
But nowadays it's like how you were telling me you were in school.
Oh yeah.
Admission. And you met a guy from Cherry Hill at the library, and it's not like you knew each other or anything like that. It just was completely random. And then
that was wild. He's an attorney, married a family. I'm like, this gotta be fate.
Right. And I think that's beautiful, man, only because it's people all walks of life everywhere, right? From all kind of places. But for us to see people where we're from in different places doing different things, you know what I mean? And knowing how tight-knit a community Cherry Hill is, that's deep, man. Because eventually it'll get to the point where these people are coming back home for one reason or another.
Right.
Unless they are like, oh man, I don't like where I came from, I forget them, but that's not likely.
No,
with us, you know what I'm saying?
And that's so crazy you said that, right? And it goes back to your mindset. I've always ran into people who love claiming Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it's never, no matter how bad the experience was.
Right. It's home.
It's home.
It's home.
I'm right and seeing how everybody moving now. It's like, okay, wow, you know, it's progress in a way. You know, just the individual.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. It's like, you know, it's always been a goal of mine. I don't know how it shakes out or whatever, but any type of success or any type of avenue I get into or whatever, field or whatnot, I always want to bring people from where I'm from into it, or bring that to them some type of way. So, you know, I mean, you can't force people to like something or do something, but it's definitely open for anybody that wants it. But that's my first motive, is always, how can I get this close to home some type of way? Right. You know what I mean? Like with the business that I'm in now, I'm renting an establishment, some garages right now, but it's not in Cherry Hill. Mm-hmm. But I would like, I looked at it yesterday. I was on Cherry Hill Road, Waterview, right there where the BP is. And right across the street from it on your left, if you're facing the light, is an empty lot.
Yeah, I know.
Right? I think
the trucks back in the day.
Yeah. So the thing is, that empty lot, what if I had enough money right now, enough capital to just say, I'm gonna buy this lot, I'm gonna build a building on it, and it's gonna be a detailed spot and tinting and all this, and I brought RayBlockers Tint right there. To me, that's outside of Cherry Hill, but if you from Cherry Hill, that is Cherry Hill. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's Cherry Hill Road, so it's still Cherry Hill. So, you know, but
I get exactly
right there, like, that's making it accessible to my home, right? Yeah. And it's a community-based thing. And how many young men or women could come there if they needed work or to learn a trade or craft? Look, man, what you got going on?
That's a corner store of traffic.
Exactly. So you feel me?
That's a perfect place of business.
Like, and that's just one idea. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much to it. Like, it's all for the hood. It is. It sounds crazy, but it really is, man.
No, that's real. You know, I think that's, matter of fact, going back a little bit to when you say, yo, what's your goal?
Right.
You ask me, probably think you telling me that. I'm like, I'll be like, that's my goal. Like, damn, the same goal of buying Cherry Hill.
Right.
And I always look at respect to Nipsey Hussle, because in a way, I was like the first black man I saw, like, he really went back and bought it. And he was still with it, you know. He connected. I'm like, damn, that was always my goal.
And you know what's crazy? Like, all right, so this is a testament to growth and relativity to where you're at the moment, right? So it's a lot of times you might think you've made it so far, or you've leveled up to a certain point, but then you stop and you look and you realize, like, I did accomplish a lot. I did a lot, but I'm still far from where I need to be. So that's why I say it's a testament to growth, because it's really impossible to stop growing. You know what I mean? Like, once you stop growing, you pretty much dead. Yeah. That's pretty much when it's a wrap.
That's real
wrap. So, you know, because your body can't produce anything else, so you done.
That's real.
So, you know, the reason I'm saying this is because I seen an interview. I think this was like one of his last interviews or a snippet or something. I forgot how I got access to this information, but he was talking about his studio. He spent, and I witnessed it, him putting all this time into the studio. Not the first time when they raided it and he got locked up or whatever. This was like close to after he dropped Victory Lap or when he was building Victory Lap up, right? The partners is the building he owned, where the studio was, right? The owner of it, they did not want to renew the lease.
Oh yeah, it was sublease.
No, he was trying to buy it. Right. Because I think they got in there, but then he was like, yo, I'm trying to get the whole thing or whatever. And they was like, where are you selling it to?
That was the I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He talked about they thought they leased the building.
Right.
And they were trying to get it.
Right.
The whole time the guy was
sublease. Right.
And the owner didn't care about nothing.
Nothing. And they had the bread.
Yeah.
And they was like, nah. And he was like, it's so crazy because I'm connected. He was like, I know people. He was like, and I got people to speak on my behalf. And they still wasn't trying here. They was like, yo, nah, not for that. You know what I mean? And that's wild when you realize like it's somebody right now up at the shopping center. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And they might see a Nipsey Hussle and be like, dang, yo, he was getting it, he did this, he made these moves, you know. But to know that it's somebody beyond that that'll try to block him from his next step, you get to seeing like you can't never be too strong. You still gotta keep going and still powering up and building your network. And I think that's just a testament to desire.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I think that's, if not the most important thing that you have to have in order to get anything, is desire. Like, forget the actions you take, forget the thought that led to the action or whatever. It all starts with desire. But, matter of fact, I'm gonna blow your mind real quick. And this is just because this has nothing, I mean, it has everything to do with what we talk about, but I'm not gonna talk about that.
Got it.
But you won't desire anything, you won't have ambition for anything that is not naturally inside of you in the first place.
Right.
You can't. Like, for example, athletes, right? People that end up making it because they had ambition and they work hard at it every day, blah, blah, blah. They would not be the athletes that they are today if that wasn't already inside of them some type of way.
So you said like that was already embedded in there. So.
Right. It's like I was telling you with the with evolution, right? Natural selection. It's the fly that was resistant to the I think PSD insecticide when they first invented it. It was none of that prior to that, right?
I remember that.
Exactly. And this bug had a dormant gene inside of it that was useless.
Until you put it into that environment.
And then that gene had a purpose because it allowed them to survive.
That's crazy. That's a fucking bar.
Yeah.
Like, that's really deep.
Yeah.
You would not know you got that inside until you put it into that environment.
And then you won't you think about where desire comes from. It's you telling you, I want this, I need this.
Yeah.
Why would you tell yourself something like that if you don't really want it or need it?
Right.
That's why you don't get the things that you don't really want.
Because you don't deserve it. It's not saying like you can't get it.
It's not for you.
I think that's crazy. To your point, I think I've noticed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Your soul knows all. I feel like your soul knows all the answers.
Yeah.
It's
like a homing beacon.
Yeah. It's like the closer you are to it, the more your soul's connected to it. Sometimes your mind and I think your instinct connect with it. But I think your mind's sometimes like, no, that's not gonna work.
Right.
I'm gonna stick with the comfort zone.
Right.
But I agree with that. Like, I think your soul knows.
It takes you exactly where you want to get to. That's why it's important, my father, the power of a blank piece of paper. It's not because you write it down that you're going to get it. It's because you're keeping it at the forefront of your sight.
Got it.
If you write it down every day, that's why they say write your goals. Don't just say, I want to do this, I want this, I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. Don't say it. If you say it, there's nothing wrong with saying it. You know what I mean? Like affirming things, like you know how people will say something a million times in a day. There's nothing wrong with that. But write it down. Because now you're committing it to your memory, you're committing it to your
that's like that
your inner workings.
What's that Bible verse? I can plain as day.
Right.
Write it down though.
Right.
And then it will manifest. Something like that.
It's like planting a seed.
That's deep.
You can't plant a seed just from saying something.
So what do you think, like, people, because you know, you see a lot of people out here who we like, bro, that's not true. Matter of fact, the conversation, you ain't gotta be street to be from the hood. You stick with your sword, stay in your own lane.
Right.
Like, and to our point of like the soul parts, like, bro, you know instinctually, deep in yourself, what you feel.
Right.
But you jump in the next lane just because you think that's cool or whatever.
Right. Then you out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna get yourself in a world of hurt. You're gonna put yourself in a world that was not meant for you.
Right.
Because you forced yourself into that situation. Whereas though you could have been who you are and had a better situation. You know what I mean? Because it's all the things that, you know, are designed for you. Right. That you're conditioned for. You know what I mean? So like me, for example, I'm not a street guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel nothing when I say that. It don't matter to me. It's people that I don't choose to be. You know what I mean? There's nothing in that I gravitate towards. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that that's not for the next person, or that it's pointless, it's stupid, or whatever. That's not for me. don't have nothing to do with me, so I don't have any comment on
You don't feel no form.
No way. Like the only thing that could make me street is where I'm from. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it's not because I'm carrying myself a certain way. I claim my hood because I love my hood.
Right.
Because that's what instilled a lot of my morals and principles.
Yeah, I agree.
It's where I'm from, you know, and there's a lot of memories that go into that I love. It's people that I love,
right.
You know, and I'm grateful to be from there. It's not like one of them things like, oh, I'm only on record because this where I'm from, or I'm stuck here. Like, no, this is a choice.
You don't gotta jump outside your lane to make yourself feel validated.
Right. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Like, cause okay. Something else that we talked about that I remember. I learned a long time ago. Like I told you, what my father told me: don't choose the one that you want. Choose the one that wants you. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, you definitely put me on
So when you think about how powerful that is, your choice is not determined by what you want. It's determined by what wants you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which in turn is kind of a good thing for you. You know what I'm saying? So if you claiming a lifestyle that you want that has not chosen you, like I'm pretty sure a lot of street guys that are very thorough and well respected for their position, they did not choose to be that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, I mean, ultimately it's a choice, but they didn't say, oh, I want my life to be like boom, 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 boom. It's the circumstances that led them to go down that path.
What's that DMX quote? Oh man, I forget that me dog. He said, I rob and I steal. Not because I want to, because I have to.
And don't make me show you what the back do. If you don't know by now, you trick.
Look. But that's it, but that's the point of it. Yeah. He really said, like, bro, I'm doing this because I have to do it.
Right.
Not because I want to do it.
Right.
And
that's it.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, but you got the guys that are people got a habit, most people, I'll say that, have a habit of looking at the results or the outcome and not the process. You know what I mean? They say, oh, yo, well respected, don't nobody play with him, he look cool, he da-da-da-da-da, whatever, look how he move, blah. I want that, I'm gonna be that. And all they could do is say, I'm gonna do what I see him doing.
Yeah.
They don't know the why. They don't know the process. They don't have it in them. You know what I'm saying? Mind your own purpose, mind your own process. Exactly, man. You know what I'm saying? What Jeezy say, trust your process.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like when you do that, when you make that your priority, your process, or your purpose, everything else falls in place.
I like that.
When you out of pocket, you know you out of pocket.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You gonna feel it. And everything you do related to that, you gonna feel it.
I think both of us go from, it's like, you jump to the tent business and somebody may say, you know, Frank, I can do it now.
Right.
And when you talked about that. But the fact is, you went through a whole process.
Yeah.
You know, like you lost your job, you did detailing, you went through a process.
Right.
And I'll say 8 months. They don't know the whole work you put in 8 months.
Right.
Like you kept saying, like, I got proficient. I spent 5 days just learning.
Yeah.
Like
watching,
right.
not even doing.
Yeah.
This was what they say, this is theory, and then you have the practical.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was all theory right there. Just
looking,
learning, watching, and then I say, you know what, I'm gonna buy some tint.
Yeah.
I didn't even
You took the time to get
tint. Exactly. I didn't even have the tint to say, oh, what they do? All right, I'm gonna go try that. I literally sat there. It's like I had the whole process down before I spent money or invested in it. I already did invest in it because I spent the time.
Yeah.
But then I took the money and then I started taking action, right?
All right.
Then I would go back and say, all right, let me watch this. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, why they do it like that? Like it's so, see with tinting is like so many subtle nuances to what you're doing. Like it looked like if you watch a video, you would think like, oh, he just did this, like this, and then boom. So my window should come out like that. Right. But it's so much that you don't think about that you can't see because you don't know that they're doing for a certain reason. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like it's crazy. Like you would never know until you start putting in the work, and then you're like, God damn.
When you explained it to me that day, I'm like, I didn't know you did all that. I thought you just, when I said that said something, I thought you just, put blow dry to
and then it's crazy because, even with removing the tint, right? Like, seems straightforward, you know what I'm saying? Like just pulling it off and then,
Yeah.
But no, you might.
You really took the time to understand.
Yeah. Because it'll make the job that easy. Like when we were talking, your car was done.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Your car was done, man.
Yeah,
I just left the back window just so we could, you know what I mean?
I didn't even know about that, remember? Yeah. I'm like,
and to tell you the truth, I could have had that off sooner, but I plugged in the steamer. You gotta wait for it to get to the temperature that it needs to be before you could eject the steam out of the nozzle.
Got it.
If you don't, it'll just like shoot water, like a stream of water. Seriously? It's crazy, man. It looks stupid. Looks like a water gun or something, man. Like a super soaker.
Seriously?
Yeah, like it gotta get super hot so when you press it, it's steam coming out
like
because it's boiling. Right.
Okay.
So, you just get it to temperature and then you go ahead and do your thing.
One of them one that's crazy is touching on how like your whole process, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't say like, but you did work for the post office.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We talked about it. We did wholesale. I know we kind of like did a snippet on it.
Okay.
But the fact is, you went through multiple things until you got to your purpose.
Yeah.
But that was a process within itself.
Right.
Did you ever feel like discouraged? Like,
yeah, but it was like disguised. I say
what
that.
you mean by that?
Okay, so like I never really felt discouraged about something I was doing. Like if it didn't work and I was like, oh my goodness, man, this ain't working, or maybe I can't. My discouragement always came disguised as a result of me not doing something with whatever I was focusing on.
God, so I want to make sure I understand it. You're saying like, if you're doing something that you probably in nature, you know you're not supposed to be doing.
Right. Or I can't do.
Or you really can't do.
Right.
Then you're not really, you may be a little bit discouraged, but you're not, completely down because like, that may not really what I was, that may not be what it's supposed to be.
The discouragement came from like, all right, say, let's use the tinting for example, right? Say I can't tint. Mm-hmm. I didn't pick it up fast enough, or I'm not good at it, or I don't get it, whatever, right? If I'm not working, if I'm not doing anything else, and I spent money on this, and I spent time doing this, the discouragement might don't come in the form of, man, that tinting man got me down, I can't do it. It might come from, damn, I need gas in my car. You know what I'm saying? I gotta pay this bill, man. And, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature, like, and not necessarily like that, but just as a byproduct of you not
I get what you're saying.
Being successful at whatever you're doing, you know what I mean? So it's like a compound effect kind of sort of, right?
So you're saying like, based off of it's like the result of
right. So that's where the discouragement will come from for me. But I don't really run from failure. I feel like when you lose something, it sets you up to gain more. You know what I mean? But it just depends on how you look at it. Some people let pain destroy them. Some people use the pain and get stronger. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's tricky how that works because it's all circumstantial and situational. But for the most part, if you could find a way to convert the negative into a positive, because that's all it is a transference of energy. You know what I'm saying? So if you could find a way to convert that for that situation, you know what I mean? Then you could come out on top. Think about it. If you lose everything, you can't go down. You can't keep going down once you hit the bottom.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. You down. Just keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So when you down, or as you're falling, you could just look at it like, dang, man, I'm taking L after L. But whatever, let me just get back on it, and it'll take you right back up. The stock market.
Yeah, that's perfect example.
Crypto, whatever. Everybody always panics, because they get in at the top. Right? So when it goes down, that's when they panic. Oh my goodness, I'm losing so much money. All you gotta do is be patient, right? Sit on your bread, stack it up. Not with that, but stack your bread up. Just keep stacking your bread. Keep your eye on that. So when it start falling, then you say, all right, I'm gonna just wait. Let me wait till it look like it's about to level out, or when it's at that bottom or whatever, now I'm gonna buy. Then you go ahead and boom. It's the turnaround. It's not the falling, it's not the rising, it's all about the turnaround.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But people can't even handle that.
Exactly.
That's right.
You know, it takes patience, man. And
that's
some type of clarity, mental clarity. You know?
I think, and that's crazy. 'Cause I think, to your point, like the mental clarity and patience, a lot of times that's the reason why a lot of people just, in my opinion, you know, do things sideways or jump, you know, find a bandwagon because they don't have, it's no direction.
Right. It's a lot that diverts your attention, right? So if you don't have any focus, if you don't have any control, that's why. Because you're letting something pull you every which way. You feel me? Like I told you, at the beginning of the day, I write my goals down. But I'm not writing my goals down necessarily because I'm trying to think about the goals themselves. I do it because it's my habit. It's my ritual in the morning, right? And that could change from time to time. But that's what I do. But that's my way of establishing control for the day. When I wake up, I'm doing this. I'm going to brush my teeth, use the bathroom, drink some water or something. You know what I mean? I'm going to write my goals. I used to sit in a chair, nothing on, close my eyes, and map out the next 30 minutes of my day.
Damn.
Right? Like, I'm telling you, I felt, it's crazy. Like, I felt so powerful. And it sounds cliche, but I really felt empowered.
I believe you.
Like, I sat there and and this just was a testament to me trying to build my focus, trying to build my consciousness of what I'm doing, right? So I would sit and I would say, all right, I want to go get a smoothie, right? And all right, I'm going to put these clothes on. I'm going to do this. Not because I'm thinking about what I want to wear or whatever, but just to be that accurate with my thoughts.
So you create the process within your head of getting to that
what I'm going to do. And even to the point, like, I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go to the car. When I pull off, I'm going to bust a right here, then I'm going to make a left right here. I know traffic is usually heavy in this time of day, so if I go this way, I know somebody going to do something crazy like this, that. Like, I would break it down to the smallest detail so I could try to predict how I'm moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it sounds crazy, but it's like it sharpens your mind. You know what I mean? Like, to do it that way. And then what it does for you on the back end, when you're actually en route and you're doing everything that you was thinking about. When something doesn't happen that you predicted to happen or you wanted to happen, you kind of already thought about it. So that cannot just hijack the emotion. You know what I mean? So, like I said about the traffic, the reason I thought about this is because what happens when you going straight and somebody comes off a side street, turn onto the street as you drive the street. You're like, whoa, what, man, God damn, what are these people stupid, y'all? I swear, oh my. But look at that. Look at what happened, right? They just stole it from you. But if you thought about it and you was like, I know when I get right here, something stupid gonna happen. Because it's a high chance that it could happen. Not because you know it's gonna happen, but you're expecting it to happen. What happened when they do it then and you already thought about it? It's easy to just be like, man, let me get out there, dude. People be crazy, man. You're right back on track.
But because you thought about it.
Because you thought about it.
Okay.
See, that's the difference between not having control or giving away your control and maintaining your control.
That's real.
You gotta think about it. You can't just expect to always remain in control.
You do this 30 minutes a day in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly, I visualize it first. I'm just like, you visualize it first.
Yeah.
Then write it down.
Yeah. Well, no. I might write my goals first.
And then visualize.
And then I visualize just that first 30 minutes. I don't do this like for my whole day.
No, I get it.
Right. But just that first 30, something simple. If you don't want to, see, I was thinking about it as far as like going to get a smoothie. But that's me leaving the house. You could do it with an activity in the house. There's enough everywhere that will try to distract you from what you intend to do. Because see, that's the real reason for that activity, right? It's because I want to get a smoothie. That's the end goal, right? So I'm thinking about everything that can happen in between me right now and getting a smoothie.
Okay.
that would stop me from either getting a smoothie or cause me to lose whatever I have before I get there or whatever. So you gotta be able to stay fluid, so to speak.
I get what you're saying.
If you read books, that's one of the fastest ways you can get where you're trying to go, because you can emulate what the person did. If you read a biography, so to speak, right, of a successful person or somebody in your field, you can emulate those steps that they took to get to that point and mimic their processes or whatnot. If it works for you, then good. If it doesn't, then you know, like, okay, this is not working or this won't work because of X and Y, right? But if it does work, you can say, okay, I can take this and use it for my toolbox.